Time to head off on another adventure. This trip, the boys and I will be heading into a secret rock fishing location that has rarely, if ever, been fished before. Excitement is in the air. Time to make sure tyre pressures are spot on and all our gear is stowed away safely and securely. It's bound to be a fairly rough and lengthy trip in, and we don't want to arrive at the other end of it with a heap of busted fishing gear. Finally we're making our way through the coastal scrub and down towards the smell of salty sea air. Easy does it though, we've got a long way to go yet. I'm not too sure if it's the four-wheel driving or the fishing that Bella enjoys more on these trips. The tracks into this location weren't too bad, probably due to their lack of use, and it wasn't long before we'd arrived.
Should have brought the surfboards, fishing rods.
Not wrong about the surfboards. The swell was definitely up, but not enough to deter us after our long and tedious travels. Time to park up and get fishing. They often say that the fishing spots that are hardest to get to often produce the best fishing, and with that in mind, we headed off into the scrub in search of our perfect spot. As you can see from Shep's 6'9" vantage point, our task was far from simple. There were no tracks into this location, and the scrub was practically impenetrable, especially carrying the amount of gear we had. Hang on a minute, whose idea was this anyway? We finally emerged from the bush weary and soaked in sweat, but feeling triumphant as we cast our eyes upon a truly great looking fishing spot.
Pretty promising.
Well, they often say that the spots that are hardest to get to are the ones that produce the most fish. That was quite a trek in. Now we can head down here, have a look around, see if we can catch ourselves some really nice fish. Come with me, we'll see what happens. Now, rock fishing is the most dangerous sport in the world, and it's not hard to see why when you have a look at this area right here. We need to take a few things into consideration, the first one being our safety. A PFD, personal flotation device, that way if we do go in the water, we can remain nice and afloat, not sink. Rock hopper boots like these ones, they've got metal spikes in the bottom, they'll keep us nice and suctioned to these rocks so we don't actually go in the water. Safety, main consideration, never risk rescuers' lives. Let's go fishing. Okay, we're ready to go. We're going to be using a 30-pound low mount overhead outfit, very, very powerful outfit, nice set of gangs, 80-pound leader, grapnel impact sinker so it won't go anywhere, big 3-way swivel and a very long wind-on 80-pound leader so we can either pull these fish up the rocks or slide a fish gaff down to them, try and pull them up that way. Come with me, we'll give it a go.
Attaching a bait bucket to your rod belt allows you to continually fish in the one location without having to clamber around on slippery, steep rock faces. They are also quite handy when beach fishing. First cast and my 6 kilo salmon just got monstered by a 40 kilo Samson fish. This spot just might be alright. We had definitely found a great location for hooking fish. All we really had to do now was work out how to land them. The big sambo finally spat the poor old salmon back out, allowing us to practice our very rusty cliff gaffing skills. Unfortunately, we had a fair amount of swell pushing in from our right hand side, making it extremely difficult to hold even average sized fish within gaffing range. We eventually decided to throw the cliff gaff down there in hope of jagging the fish. This of course resulted in disaster, breaking the line and sending me back to the drawing board. I didn't have to wait long for my next shot. This time I had hooked something decent, and as it headed for the far point of the headland, the image of that monstrously big sambo quickly sprang to mind. Seriola species, such as Samson fish, amberjack and yellowtail kingfish, will often pull as hard against you as you do on them. Try gently leading the fish rather than laying right into it, This approach has landed more of these brutes over the years than not, and is definitely a technique well worth taking into consideration next time you're hooked up to one. This fish was responding well to the softly approach, and I knew it wouldn't be too much longer before we got our first look at it.
Yeah. Oh, it's a salmon.
Yeah, we'll land this one, Andrew. We'll land this one.
Keep him where he is, get his head up on the rock or something. No, he's right here.
And there she was, 20 plus kilos of tired and beaten Samson fish, landed on 15 kilo nylon from the rocks. All we had to do now was land it. Once again, the swell had tragically swept the floundering fish around into what was quickly becoming known as the danger zone. I frantically tried to feed the fish some line in the hope that it would swim free from danger, but the powerful and relentless swells continued to pound my prize further and further from my grasp. My heart was slowly sinking, and then it burst as the line broke and my prize was gone. Back to the drawing board again. This particular rock location may look extremely dangerous, but be assured that we have taken every precaution against accident and injury. Both Shep and Davo are both wearing PFDs and rock boots. Plenty of people know where we are, and we also have plenty of strong, reliable rope just in case things go really bad. Trying to avoid my next fish from being swept into the danger zone, I decided to take off as far to my right as I could in an attempt to achieve a more suitable gaffing angle. This was the kind of spot you really had to keep your wits about you and make sure those feet were planted solidly with every move. I led the fish towards Shep, and as he slipped the cliff gaff onto the line, I can remember thinking to myself, surely third time lucky. But no, luck was against us yet again. What were we doing here? Our next hookup was a double, with Dave and I both battling large, head-rattling salmon. Surely one of us had to get lucky this time.
Something's grabbed mine while I was retrieving it.
I decided to go as hard on my fish as I possibly could while Dave played his out. Eventually I had 5 kilos of southwestern Australian salmon flapping its way up the huge granite cliff face towards me. Finally success, even if it was only a small salmon. And with invigorated hearts, we set about seeing what else we could manage to drag out of this incredible looking water. This next shot shows how truly amazing this location really was.
Well, we weren't wrong about the spot, folks. The spots that are hard to get to generally have a lot of very good fish in them. We've hooked some massive big salmon down there, some nice big Samson fish, got them all to the rocks, busted them off with a cliff gaff or on the barnacles. This is about the biggest we've managed to drag up the rocks, and it looks like that'll do us for the day. So, time to hit the goat track, head back home. Hope you've enjoyed the segment. See you next time.
Not quite. I realised I had one more bait left in my box and decided to have that one last cast, and we all know how that usually ends up.
Yeah, I got him. I got a sambo. Here we go. A sambo, Dave. Oh no, it's a massive pinky. A massive pinky.
With my personal best snapper from the rocks now floundering at my feet, the sure risk of it being lost in the manner of all the others soon hit home. Something had to be done. The only question now was what? I could feel the fish being swept further and further around the rocky point and knew that my 30-pound main line would now be rubbing on some serious trouble. I decided to hit free spool and try to make my way around to the other side of the point in the hope the line would follow. I couldn't believe my luck. It had worked, and as my line came tight to the fish once again, I knew the battle had now only just begun. I wasn't sure how much damage the line had sustained during the fight so far, and was trying to apply as little amount of pressure as possible. After all, my battle was now more against the rampaging swell and barnacle encrusted rocks than it was with the fish. With the fish now clear of danger, all I had to do now was get that shock leader onto my reel. I could see my Albright knot sitting halfway up the rod, agonisingly close, and began to look for a lower ledge. I knew if I could just get that little bit closer to the fish, I could wind that leader onto the reel and kind of relax. Success at long last. All I had to do now was be patient and wait for that gaff.
Yeah, Nick, you kind of got to a spot where we can't really do a lot.
To say the boys were a little worried about the gaffing situation would be a serious understatement, so I politely asked them to hold my rod while I did the honours. I simply slid the cliff gaff onto the leader and down onto the now very weary looking snapper. It was as easy as dunking a tea bag into a cup, and up she came, my personal best pink snapper from the stones. I was stoked.
Well, take a look at that. A beautiful big pink snapper taken off the rocks down here in the beautiful southwestern corner of Australia. Just a three-way swivel rig with a set of gangs and a muley and a nice spoon sinker. I've got about 6 rod lengths of 80-pound leader tied on here. As you saw, it came in pretty handy. This fish is practically scaled and half beaten to death after that fight. I feel the same way. It's time for us to hit the road. See you guys next time.